Enough is enough. I don't want to die.
Doctors told Crystal to lose weight or lose her life. The Greensboro mother immediately heard that and started making changes. The first change, cutting out soda completely. In this month's Cone Health 2-Year Wellbeing Report, WFMY News 2's Tracy McCain takes a closer look at sugar, its potentially damaging impact on the body, and the safe way to get your sugar fix in check.
Doctors gave Crystal Avenger a choice.
It's crazy to not know what's happening inside of you until a doctor tells you, like, you're almost on the brink of death. And I wasn't even maybe 31 at the time.
Avenger was 30, 307 pounds, pregnant, battling congenital heart failure and type 2 diabetes.
At one time, they told me my baby could come out stillborn because of all the medicine. So I was in a really crazy place mentally because I was afraid of losing my baby.
Her baby was born healthy, but Avenger's own medical battle was putting her life in jeopardy.
So I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, for ICU after having the baby with all the health issues.
When she came out of her medically induced coma, Avenger finally decided,
enough is enough. I don't want to die.
She had the motivation she needed.
I had to lose the weight because I had 2 children here that really needed me. My mom died when I was 17 from heart failure and asthma. I couldn't let that be me. So then I started eating more fruit, eating more vegetables, no rice, no pasta. And even if I had a sandwich, I would make it wheat bread.
Notice the color in all of her plate pics. Avenger following the low sugar plan set out by her doctors and dietitians.
A healthy, balanced meal is going to be very colorful because it's going to contain a variety of foods from different food groups. And that variety is really what helps ensure that we're getting the nutrition that we need.
Kate Watts is a registered dietitian with Cone Health. She said anyone aiming for a healthy lifestyle should use the portion plate as a guide.
It is split into 3 different categories, really encouraging us to fill up half of our plate with those colorful fruits and vegetables that provide a lot of nutrition, and then splitting the other half of our plate for our grains and our meats and proteins.
Whole grains are high in fiber, great for heart health, the digestive system, and managing blood sugar. But the road to better health doesn't apply to only what's on your plate. You should watch what's going in your cup, too.
In the United States, about 35% of the added sugars that we consume comes from sugary beverages. So things like soda and our sweetened coffee treats, our teas, especially here in the South, we like our sweet tea. A really good first step for a lot of people is to look at what they're drinking.
Is that enough to really see change, or do you have to take it a step further?
Drinking just one 12-ounce soda each day increases your risk of dying from heart disease by almost 1/3.
Cutting out soda eliminates a huge health risk.
Any small steps that you can take to decreasing that added sugar intake is going to help.
Avenger is grateful to be alive.
You have to want it. You have to say, enough is enough. I don't want to die. I want to be healthy. I want to walk up steps and not feel tired.
She cut out sugar, added in exercise, stayed away from processed foods, and dropped 140 pounds.
I weigh now 167. It was a slow process, but before I knew it, the weight was just falling off.
Avenger says it's all about making good decisions every day.
To make right choices. Making the best choices that you can, one good choice after the next, is going to get you where you belong.
All right, so Avenger made that change. How about us making that change? To help us with making those changes and those switches, we have Cone Health dietitian Kate Watts here with us today, and she's talking about why the move is so impactful and how we can all do it. All right, so we just saw you in the story there. Let's kind of dig into this a little bit more. How does sugar impact a person's health?
So sugar itself is actually a great source of energy for our bodies, so it's no surprise that we crave it. However, it is the type of sugar and how much sugar we consume that really can have a problem for our health. So there's a big difference in natural sugars, which is what we find in fruits and dairy products like milk, versus those added sugars in sodas and sports drinks and packaged foods. And those added sugars are just that. It is sugar that is added to our foods during processing by the food company, and it's to make those products sweeter. So the food industry, they love to use sugar as an ingredient. It is cheap and people love it. And so we get hooked and we buy more and more. Too much added sugar over time can increase our risk of serious diseases like high blood pressure and heart disease, diabetes, and liver disease.
Yeah, and it's in so much stuff, even like your tomato sauce or your ketchup or whatever it is. So how do you help us make that switch to look differently and to choose differently?
Well, there's a couple tips that I would recommend, and one is really just starting to become aware of which food and drink items you're getting the most sugar from. So some people decide to keep a food journal, which is just a log of everything you eat and drink throughout the day, and then they can look back at it and see, okay, how many desserts am I having in the week? How many sugary drinks am I having each day? And it really helps them identify which foods they want to start maybe limiting or substituting with something else. Now, in America, 35% of the added sugars we consume come from sugary beverages like sodas and sweetened coffee drinks, sweet tea, and sports drinks. So definitely starting with making a shift in beverages is a great place to start. And again, taking that really gradually, you may look at how many sweet drinks you're consuming now, and then making a realistic change and over time decreasing that more and more. Or you could even look at, okay, I make my own sweet tea at home. Let me work on gradually reducing the amount of sugar that I'm using to make that batch of tea. Another important tip is just in general to really try to choose more wholesome natural foods over packaged processed foods that are going to have those added sugars in them. And if you are consuming packaged foods, go ahead and look at that nutrition label. So reading nutrition labels, which are going to be on every packaged food item, you can look for the amount of added sugars, which will be listed in grams per serving. Now, the American Heart Association gives us some recommendations to know how many added sugars to aim for each day. And for women and kids, that is a limit of 25 grams of added sugar per day or less, which is about 6 teaspoons. And for men, they recommend limiting added sugars to 36 grams per day or less, which is about 9 teaspoons.
Okay, and you can get that in just one soda, much less, and that's your entire day. Okay, we're going to talk about what kinds of substitutions do you recommend when you still have those cravings and stuff. We're going to talk about that when we come back after the break.